Okay, Thanksgiving family madness is over. I'm back at the foundry for the first time in, I don't know, maybe a week. And I got a box full of goodies, including a brand new tape measure with no holes in the blade, no rusted out spots. I'm telling you, this is first class. Okay, I have everything I need for this end of the plumbing. The pump came with a hose adapter, and I had the hose from the first go round. Pump also came with this little adapter for a 1/2 inch hose. The filter had 3/4 threads in it, but I had this 3/4 by half. I think it was some sort of compression deal, but it'll work. Same size as this. I just bought a 3/4 by 1/2 inch threaded adapter. I had a nipple here, and this hose, this suction hose, is from the original go-round, and it will go under the tank up to the back of the trailer. So, but I want to mount it vertically. I want to mount it up here. This filter is kind of built to be vertical, so I'm going to screw a board up to this metal and yeah, mount them vertically. I think I'm ready to start mounting. Okay, I'm back at home. I have a piece of 1 inch. I think it's starboard, but I didn't buy it. It's a high density plastic, and I'm going to make 2 saddle clamps to hold this thing pretty rigidly, so that it'll be strong enough I'll be able to unscrew this bowl and clean it out. So I'm gonna drill a hole here, and then cut it here, here, and here. Well, cut it all up without cutting my fingers off. But first I'm gonna drill the 2 holes. This is just a little bit less, this is just a little smaller than the outside diameter of this bronze or brass or pot metal or whatever it is. It's from China. Cutting into plastic with a power saw is always a little nerve-wracking because you don't know how it's going to react. But this stuff was just a piece of cake to work with. It cuts so smooth. Okay, the clamp blocks are going to work well, except that this distance is not enough to keep this off of the back. I didn't make that block deep enough. I thought I did, but you know, whatever. So I'm gonna cut 2 more pieces, 1/2 inch out of this one and slide them behind this, kind of pull it away from the plywood a little bit. When we add this little spacer, the screws are gonna be too short. So I solved the problem, I think, by putting in a deep counter bore so the top of the screw can go way down. I think there's still enough meat in the bottom of the hole to hold. If not, I'll have to put a longer screw with a washer up top. Either way, it's not that big a deal. So I'm ready to go back to the foundry, probably in the morning, and mount this baby. And now I'm going to work on a little tabletop I'm working on, which is not being filmed. So when I brought this trailer home a couple of weeks ago, I was a little bit anxious about it, getting it back out there so I could water my newly planted trees so they wouldn't die. Well, I don't have to be anxious anymore. Since I brought it home, it's rained twice, and now it's supposed to rain every day for the next 7 days. And it's cooler, so I got all the time in the world. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the pump before I bring it out there. All right, the last piece of the puzzle. I bought a battery. Ooh, they're expensive. But before I put the battery on, I bought another fitting to scooch this stuff over a little bit to get the battery away from this corner a little bit. And it's in the truck and it's raining, so let me go get with it one more time. And I'm gonna redo this before I set the battery. Okay, we have a battery and we have some wires, and we are hooked up kind of temporarily. I don't think my lamp cord's heavy enough that I so carefully taped, but anyway, the pump runs, and I need to know, well, we need to figure out if it's going to pull enough suction. I don't have a whole lot of water in the tank, but the pump is supposedly able to pump suction. Yeah, it's blowing air. Oh, when did that happen? All right, filter is bubbling, the pump is running, and how far can I squirt? Oh, I can squirt pretty far. Okay, happy with what we got. So I need a beefier, I need a heavier cord here. I think it's gonna make the pump run hot. And I'm gonna need some kind of waterproof switch. But other than that, for now it's working. I wanted to put a switch by the battery because the switch by the nozzle is really easy to accidentally trip on and off. So like when I wasn't using the nozzle, I want to be able to turn it off. I found this key switch at home for a lawnmower, or maybe for the little Model T. I don't know. It was brand new, still in the bag. So I very carefully cut a piece of aluminum from this plate and drill a hole with the biggest bit I had, and then I had to spend some time with a Dremel tool making it big enough. And it snaps in there just perfectly. I can mount it. But looking at the wires, it can't be rated for many amps. These are teeny. So, so I was looking for a voltometer in the other room, and I found this switch. And this switch has some bigger lugs on it. I think this switch is rated for bigger amperage. So I'm gonna use this switch, and I cut another plate out so we can use this switch. And I'll just put this in the junk box. So the last piece of the puzzle was getting the battery strapped in, and I just used an old, like an old ratchet strap, and cut it, and burnt holes in it and screwed it down. Now it's gotten a little bit heavier on the tongue, but now we have a working hitch, so I'm just gonna back it up on the trailer and strap it down. It's going to the country tomorrow. I think I might bring home my Ranger and give it some a going over, since we have bad weather predicted for the rest of the week and next week too. Well, we're at the country. I got the water trailer hooked up to the tractor. I'm getting ready to unload it. And I was kind of hoping to go try it out and check it out, but it's really wet out there. It's been raining, so I don't need the water, and I don't want to rut up the ground with the tractor. But anyway, all systems a go. My weak link now, I think, is this switch. Probably going to need to replace it with something because it's going to get water in it constantly. I have a 10 gauge wire running up to the switch and back, and I can kind of tell the difference in the pump. Battery's mounted. Everything's lovely. Got a safety switch. The tongue weight did dramatically increase when I put this battery this far in front of that trailer, but I don't really know what else to do with it. Just, I'm glad I put the handle on here. So I'm gonna take it off the trailer, go park it, and I don't know what's gonna happen next. Well, what happened next was the first time I tried to use the trailer, I went through a dip and broke off this piping manifold. So I've got new pieces, parts, and we will redo it one more time because it's like the fourth time. I'm a slow learner, but the next time's going to be better. Okay, getting ready to replace my manifold again. This is the latest iteration, and I think it's going to be better. I just need to unscrew this broken piece. I'll need to cut this off so I can reuse this. I'll need to cut this off so I can reuse this. And in hindsight, I could have cut here and reused the 1.5-inch valve, but I've already got one. It's all good now. So I'm gonna put it together. Okay, back together again, and everything's soaking wet. So we're not actually gonna use it because everything is soaking wet. It's winter time. I probably won't need it for a couple of months. We get a lot of moisture during the winter. Looking at it, I probably could have put this facing in or out and would have been less likely to grab it, but I think it's so much higher than it used to be. I think we're going to be all right. Oh, I forgot my bucket fill adapter. It's not glued on, it's just stuck in the hole. And then sometimes I can take this long piece and stick it on here without glue, and then I can just drive by the plants with the valve open and wet them up. So I did this a lot with Collins trees because every one of them needed like 10 gallons, so it made it go pretty quick. New day, I'm over at the foundry. A rainy week. I am going to deal with these wheels today. I'm gonna try to cut the tires off. They're full of rubber or foam or something. Do some welding on this one that is rotted all the way through, and find some new tires and maybe tubes, I don't know, put them on there. Then we're going to clean up because I just finished. That will be the end of both of these trailer jobs, and then we're going to move the Ranger in and give it medium tune up, just kind of check it out. I really hadn't done anything to it since I bought it. I haven't even checked the oil. So yeah, we're going to get in here and check it out. I know the winch is not operating, so I need to do that. I'm checked all the CV joints, and maybe change the oil in the front differential and the back differential, and just check it out, give it some love. But first, I'm going to finish that log trailer, which means fixing these wheels. Nothing is ever easy. My chuck and my sawzall is stuck. I can't get it to open up to let me put a blade in it. Might be just gummed up. I'll take it apart and see what I can do. I could make a whole video on messing with this sawzall. The chuck was just it wouldn't do anything. So I got it apart. It's kind of tricky because it keeps wanting to go back in the little hole there like a turtle's head. But I did get it apart and I really looked at it. There's lots of little parts, but I determined that there was one part that was missing. I guess it broke and launched itself because it's a teeny tiny little part. I was able to order a new one, and I got it, and it didn't take very long. And then had a lot of trouble putting it back together because the parts are so small and my shaky hands, etc., etc. But I got it back together and seemed to be kind of working. And then the first time I used it, the blade flew out, and the little part here that the pliers are on, it flew off, and the tiniest little bitty spring went away, and I couldn't find it. So I kind of gave up on it, put it to the side. I was thinking about buying a new one. This one's not that old and doesn't have that many hours on it. But anyway, I ended up finding the little bitty spring, and it's amazing because it's a teeny tiny little thing. And then the piece that I just pulled off of there, I couldn't find it. I know I put it somewhere for safekeeping. I just couldn't find it. So put the saw away, and I borrowed my neighbor's saw, and I went back to work on the tires instead of working on a power tool, which I have no business in doing. Well, I've been in like a no progress mode over here for quite a while. I did change the oil in the engine, and I'm ready to change the oil in the transmissions, but I want to put this half axle back in first, and I had the wrong boot for the CV joint, so I'm waiting on correct boots to come in. And then my sawzall broke, and I couldn't put it back together because I lost a teeny tiny little spring, and I found a teeny tiny little spring, and now I can't find the other part I had. I don't know where I put it, so that was a little frustrating. And I've been making Christmas presents at home, and it's been cold as heck. But I borrowed my neighbor's sawzall. We're gonna see if we can't get these tires off these rims today. That's our project. So I've never cut a car tire off a rim before. I didn't really know what to expect. I've never mounted a car tire onto a rim before. I've watched people do it. I've never tried to put a tube in a car tire and then put it on the rim. So I probably don't look like I know what I'm doing. It's mainly because I don't know what I'm doing. But by the end, I got pretty good at it. The tires were pretty easy to cut, actually. They weren't very rubbery anymore. They were just hard as a brick. And actually, I thought they were filled because they would hold up weight, but they were just stiff. And the only steel in these particular tires was right at the bead, so that's the only time I had to be careful. I had to cut it to get it off the rim. I guess I didn't really have to, but I did cut the beads, and came off the rim much easier. Okay, should be easy. So that little duckbill tool that I have is actually a tire tool. I know exactly where I got it from. When I bought the E-Tech motor that I put on the center console boat from a guy in South Louisiana, we were using it to help scoot the pallet up into the truck. And then I promise it got forgotten in the truck. I didn't have anything to do with it. So I've got his tire tool, but he's got a check from me for like $11,000, so we're going to call it even. If he wants it, he can come get it. Otherwise, it's mine. Okay, there is no rubber inside that tire. It's just hard as a rock. It's brittle hard. I guess the other one too. I thought there was rubber in it. The valves wouldn't come out. Oh well, we just cut them off. All right, this is a little pitted. It's a heavy rim. Yeah, I think we can fix it. Get the other one on. This tire has a tube in it. So this rim looks pretty good. There's rough spots. I don't think it may not hold air. Let's see, where are they? Right in here. I don't know if that's going to hold air or not. So I think I'm just going to hit it with a wire brush. I might hit it a little bit with the flap wheel and just plan on buying tubes. Now this wheel, not as good. It's pretty rough all the way around, and then it gets rougher, and then it gets more holy. So I'm gonna try to weld these up. I'm gonna put the flap wheel on it and clean it and try to weld these up, and just plan on putting a tube in it because I don't know that I can ever get the bead to seal on this rough stuff. But yeah, we'll hit it with a flat disc and we'll just do a whole bunch of spot welds. All right, we got the bad spot cleaned up as well as reasonably practical. I'm gonna try to weld it from the outside. Now these welds won't matter what they look like. And then I'll flip it over and do a little grinding on the inside and further fill the holes. It's gonna be tricky not to burn through because some of this stuff's pretty thin. Another in my recent list of frustrations, I'm out of wire. And I was kind of getting the hang of it too. Got this one done really well. What you have to do is go around the perimeter and just put little dots and kind of build it up thicker. And then you can kind of work your way to the middle. I'm gonna try to TIG it. I'm gonna try to braze it. I've still got my TIG welding machine. Let's see if we can put some braze on there. It's been a long time since I've TIGged anything. Let's see. Well, I don't know. It's brazed. I did melt off part of the rim. Let me grind this down and see what it looks like. And it looks atrocious on the bottom, so I'm gonna grind it before I even let you see it. Okay, so these were not brazing rods. These were just welding rods. They have a brass coating on them to keep them from corroding. And I realized shortly after I started, but I just kept on going. So this is steel. And then on the side, it's getting there. With a tube in it, I think it'll be pretty strong. Got a little, I could put some more metal right there and right there, and there's a hole all the way through it right there. So I think what I might switch to the brazen rods now, see if it won't lay down a little better. All right, with some TIG welding and some TIG brazing, I think I have a usable rim, as long as I use a tube with it. And now I remember why I gave up on the foundry work. I can't TIG anymore, my hands shake too much. But anyway, I made it work. I'm gonna put some paint on this, and I'm gonna order 2 tubes, and I'm gonna see what I can find for a tire. It won't be a new one, I promise. Well, it's been a long time coming, but today is the day. I have a pair of gimme tires from a friend of a friend. They're radial, so that means I can go faster, I think. Or maybe corner sharper. I'm not sure, but I got a pair of tires. The rims have been patched and painted, and the tubes are in the bag. Hopefully they're the right size. Let's see if we can put these together. Step 1, soapy water on the rim. Then the rim goes on as far as you can stick it. It's not very far. Found that the key is to take little bitty bites at a time. If you try to go too much, it's hard. And turn the little tool over. I've been using it upside down. It works better the other way around. Okay. Now I'm gonna get the tubes, put just a little bit of air in them so they won't be all floppy. What's happening? Like we have no pressure. Let's see what's going on. My new fancy chuck is refusing to work. My old beat up one. Is working. Now, I might have should have put these tubes in before I put the tire on, but I was scared I was going to pinch them. I'm going to do it the hard way. I'm going to pinch it. This part was surprisingly hard, getting the tube over the rim. It's much smaller than the rim. You really got to stretch it. And all you really have to work with is your little fingertips trying to get up in there. So, I mean, I did it. It wasn't monumental, but I was a little surprised at the degree of difficulty of getting the tubes in the tire and over the rim and getting them wrinkle free. Okay, a lot tighter than I was anticipating. It's cold this morning. Okay, so tube, in the ring. Somehow I don't even make sure it's not wrinkled. No. I need to find the stem. And then there's getting the valve stem, whatever you want to call it, in the hole in the rim, where you can't get your fingers. There's the stem. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna turn you off because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so the valve is in the hole. I put the cap on it so I don't think it can come back out. Now we need to put the other side of the rim on. I think I'll put the side with the valve on it first. It's right here. You have to squash down the tire to get it into the middle part of the rim, because if it's allowed to get on the bead, you can't, there's no way you can stretch the tire enough to get it on all the way around. So as you pop the tire over the beaded part of the rim, you got to keep squashing it down. And I'm using my knees. I'm sure different people do it different ways. A lot of people have machines that do this automatically, but I don't have that. Still good. My first ever tire on the rim. I think I'm okay. See, the tube right here is kind of pinched. I need to get the tire over the tube. I don't think that'll be that big a deal. There it goes. Okay. Put some air in it. Oh no.
Bouncing the tires because I think it might help get the wrinkles out of the tubes before I get too much air in it. I don't know, I'm guessing. Valve stem. Oh no! Valve stem came out the hole. Alright, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Shit, I might have to take it back off. I lost my valve stem. So I got the stem back out with the pliers and the screwdriver, but it's wanting to fall back in the hole. So I'm gonna have to hold it while I put some air in here. My shaking gets worse when I get tired, and apparently I'm tired.
Okay. Air is going in.
I'm noticing this one wheel doesn't seem to be holding pressure like the wheel in the foreground. So get out the soap, and sure enough, there's air coming out from between the rim and the tire. Camera missed it, but I promise you, it really happened.
Well, at least I can get one wheel on, make me feel better.
So I put a little blob of grease on each one of the studs. They were pretty crusty, and in spite of being dragged around on the floor for the last month or two, all the nuts went right back on.
2, 3, 4. Okay, that's done. Hopefully my forklift won't get tired of holding it up until we get this other wheel resolved. I guess I got to break it down again. I got to get the stem out so the tube will be very pliable. I think I have a stem tool in my truck. I'm gonna go check. This is a must-have tool if you're dealing with tires. It will unscrew the stem, the valve core out of the valve, so the air is free to come and go, so it won't be fighting me. And this, I could have put this end on the valve stem on the other tire, and it would not have been able to suck in when I was messing with it. And I'll do that on this one. So let's get some air out of here. Okay. Now I need to break the bead. I don't know what side I should take off. I think the other side. Woo! All right, I'm gonna blow it up and see what we got. Yep, there it is. I don't have a patch kit, but AutoZone has them. They're right around the corner. Dang it. All right, I went to the parts store and I got a gauge, so we now know what we're doing. And I got a patch kit, but it's for radial tires. And to me, that means it's really not built to expand a lot, but it's all they had. So we're gonna give it a shot. So I took the smallest patch that they had in this little kit and cut it in half to reduce the pucker factor, because this tube's gonna get bigger, and I don't think these are designed to stretch much. Maybe they are. Anyway, let's put it back together. Patches on. I did this one a little differently. I put the tube in from this side, the side that is behind the bead, and then I was able to get it inside the tire. I think that's probably the way I should have done all of them. Anyway, the tube is in, and I've got that little tool on it, so I can't lose it this time. So we just need to turn it over and pop this bead and not pinch the tire. Guess what? Son of a gun. Let's do it again. Okay, so my patch held, and there was another hole in the tube. Kind of messing with my head, so I felt around the inside of the rim. I thought maybe there was a sharp spot on the rim, but I had wire brushed it and painted it, and then I felt in the tire, and sure enough, this little bitty nail is poking through the tire. So yeah, that's the cause of my angst. I hope now when I put a patch on it, put it back together, we'll be done. Third time's the charm. I should have actually filmed this one, because I actually looked like I kind of knew what I was doing, as opposed to the first couple of times. But it's back on there. I'm gonna put a little grease on my wheel studs and put it on the trailer. Well, the ugly log arch trailer is ready for action. We have wheels and they're holding air, so everything's lovely. A little while ago when I went to the AutoZone, I said I should plug in my battery charger because it's been quite a while. And the red light did come on, but by the time I got back, 100% charged. So I'm loving this little thing I did. For basically for less than $600, I have a usable forklift, where as before, it was not really usable. The old battery just didn't work.